Power on. Bluetooth pairing. Bluetooth connected.
Meet Craig AI, powered by AT&T Vision. A lot of people feels good to finally connect with you guys.
How did you get in there? What?
He's not in there, Ellie. It's AI.
Are you guys talking about me?
Live life never bugged with STEM Spam Trap. Using UV light, it attracts and traps bugs 24/7. No odor, no mess. Live life never bugged with STEM.
The known universe is ruled by the Padishah Emperor Shaddam Masor, my father. In this time, the most precious substance in the universe is the spice melange. The spice extends life. The spice expands consciousness. The spice is vital to space travel. The Spacing Guild and its navigators, who the spice has mutated over 4,000 years, use the orange spice gas, which gives them the ability to fold space. That is, travel to any part of the universe without moving. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. The spice exists on only one planet in the entire universe. Desolate, dry planet with vast deserts. Hidden away within the rocks of these deserts are a people known as the Fremen, who have long held a prophecy of mankind and science, who would lead them to true freedom. The planet is Arrakis, also known as
What's going on, guys? D-Man, Shelly, Gray, how's it going?
Same old phone? Nah. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
I do anything.
Hey, cat parents! Right now at PetSmart, it's anything for cats month. Our biggest cat event.
The Shorts guy. Well, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it.
We're gonna randomly let this filter pick our outfit for today. These are cute.
Trying to do a thing here and wasting valuable drawing time.
New resealable packaging keeps Oscar Mayer Deli fresh and deli fresher.
Guide to moving day. Step 1, get T-Mobile 5G home internet with 2-day free shipping. Step 2, get up.
But you? We're dying.
Courtney on Instagram. How's it going? I'm actually streaming in both places. I'm doing YouTube and Instagram just 'cause. Yeah, Courtney, for real. It's been miserable hot. Do not like. Fall needs to get here. Oh yeah, definitely. We need rain. I'll take rain. Yeah. It just needs to downpour. Thanks, Courtney. This is a drawing I'm not particularly thrilled with. I'm not sure if I'm going to take it all the way to completion. I just kind of wanted something to doodle around on. Ginger Bear. I saw you join for a minute on my Instagram one. I decided to fire them both up because just why not? Just why not? Roland, don't cross the streams, right? Wise man, do I think comic book movies are oversaturated in the film industry? Kind of. We had such a good run of so many good ones for so long, depending on a person's personal preference and opinion. And then they just got lazy and kind of half-assed, and in my opinion, they have to really do something spectacular to make it stand out or just not feel like the same old, same old. It's like, I love comics and comic book movies and stuff, but even I've kind of had enough of them. Jaro, who am I drawing? These are my original characters that I created as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old teenager. In the costumes I put them in originally, and the whole point is that they look ridiculous. Like, there's no reason for their outfits to look the way that they do, for them to have any of these weird, stupid design elements on them. But I just kind of wanted to draw them again just because, they're my original characters that I created as a kid, and I have nothing to say about them. So it's not like I'll ever do anything with them. There's nothing there for me to I have to tell a story about these guys because I have nothing to say about these guys. But they're precious to me because they were my first characters, and I just wanted to draw them in their stupid costumes. Very 90s. Yeah, that was the thing. I just kind of threw everything at them with all the ridiculous. They got boots and straps and headbands and belts, and it's just stupid and suck and stupid. Buffy and Angel are still really good shows, and they hold up very well. Firefly is Joss Whedon's best work he ever did, and it sucks we'll never ever get to see anything from that world ever again.
With new gun detection, Strowman also shows you better so you can move right.
There's Courtney. She jumped over from Instagram too. Yeah, Ginger Bear, you were saying you were super busy at work, man, and that's gonna suck up all your time. That blows. Not even on weekends or something like that. Yeah, Panda, this comic stuff is tedious, and how much free time it burns up. Yeah, people think, well, you just sit around and draw. Well, yeah, but it's fun and it's rewarding, but it takes up time. Yeah, Ginger Bear, that actually makes sense. Now that I think about it, it was kind of a dumb thought of mine, where it's like, well, you could do it on weekends, but like you got life that you have to do otherwise, and then so you got to get cut up on all life kind of stuff on the weekends, and then you're just too burned out. Yeah, I get it. Well, I couldn't tell you guys anything about a Green Lantern. All I know is that I did like Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. And again, I know nothing about Guy Gardner. I got no connection to any of that stuff, but I did like him in that movie. Yeah, that's hard, Ginger Bear. Yeah, 3 months of that. Like, it's one thing if they're like, hey, for the next 2 weeks, we got to do this, but for 3 months, suck me sideways. Oh, damn. Yeah, Ginger Bear, you thought you'd be done with it by that time, but now it's like, well, nope. Yeah, I hear ya. That sucks, man, but... It's not nearly quite the same thing there, Ginger Bear, but in my job right now, the position I work in is normally manned by 3 people. At one time, there was 3 full-timers and one part-timer, so kind of 4 of us. But they've reduced it down to just 3 of us, and one of the guys quit, and then my coworker who works with me, just the 2 of us, she's on vacation, so it's just me for the next week, for 5 days straight, doing the job of 3 people. And I am not happy about it at all. Eric Bonifield, love you some Crackle. When in doubt, throw in some Kirby Crackle, right? Such an interesting kind of artistic expression to show energy in a way that kind of doesn't make sense, but it works perfectly. Such an interesting... Oh yeah, Ginger Bear, you were telling me, yeah, they cut your team in half, and now they're like, oh, by the way, now we can't get the job done unless we force the current crew to just suck it up. Yeah, that sucks, my dude. Yeah, I think starving artists is a real thing because some people think that they're better than they are and demand pay for shit that's no good. I've watched that stuff happen my entire time I've been online. I've seen shit-ass artists demanding $100 per page, and they're absolutely fucking awful. I think an artist needs to be aware of how good they may or may actually not be. And I'm actually an advocate for, do free work, because you're not getting work anywhere else. You're not getting seen by anybody else, but I did work for some guys for free, and I made connections, and it actually did get my work seen. I wasn't good enough to be paid, and no one was making any money anyway. It was such a shit small company making crappy stuff, but it was practice for me. It forced me to do the best work that I could do because I wanted to be better than anybody else working at this small little independent studio. I wanted to be the standout guy, and I was still terrible. But if I'm like, no, you got to pay me $50 a page, I wouldn't have done shit. So I would have sat around bitching and moaning about how I can't make my living as an artist. And I'm like, well, that's why I'm like, just fucking make it. I get sick of hearing people, and I'm not talking about anybody specific in the chat, I'm just speaking in broad generalizations here, but I get so sick of people like, I can't make any money at it, so I'm not doing anything. Well, then you don't love to create art. Make your shit. Get your stuff seen. Do the work. And, develop a following or something, and then offer commissions and start making money. But it's like, pay me for my work. Some people aren't good enough to get paid. When there's so many good artists out there, there's so much competition. Guys who can command big dollar rates and live off it. That's certainly not me. So that's why I did and advocate for it depending on the situation. Do some free work. Just make something. Practice. Learn. Network. Meet people. Show that you can commit to a thing and finish it to the end. Or sit around and do nothing and talk about how you're going to do all this amazing stuff as soon as somebody pays you. Meanwhile, I'm actually making comics. Jero, I mean, that's kind of rude of me to say, a small shit company making crappy stuff. Like, they're all good people, but by God, were they making garbage. Right, Panda, that's why you're such a hardcore believer in doing indie work. If you're not getting paid anyway, just do your own IP and build a community, especially with social media. It's still hard, but you got a better chance now than you ever did back in the day. Panda, do I still have those things? Well, let me... If you could bear with me for a second, I think I have... some of that stuff sitting right here. I just got to dig through these. Man, if I were to show you guys the mess my room is here, with all these comics laying everywhere. In one of these piles. Come on, I was flipping through all this shit and they were just right here. And now that I want to find them, flipping. Wolverine, Stormwatch, more Wolverine. Brigade, Evangeline, Deathmates, more Evangeline, Fathom, Daredevils. Bunch of indie shit. Okay. On that pile, third time's the charm. Ugh. Oh man, Ginger Bear, that's rough. Yeah. What do you do, right? I mean, not to sound horrible, Ginger Bear, but maybe he doesn't have any concerns for his bills anymore. And he'd rather spend his money on shit that makes him happy while he can. Do you know what I mean? That maybe that sounds horrible. Alright, well, I found a couple of them. Oh, shit, dropping my art pens everywhere. Oh, God. Okay, so here's a couple of things. These are all covers that I did for these books. None of the interiors are mine. I'll show them to you here. I did draw an entire, like, 24-page comic book for these guys, and at the time they were like, we're going to totally print it up like they did all of these. And but then right when my book come up, they never printed it. They released it digitally, but I was really pissed off that I didn't get to see my book done digitally. So, for example, Depthon, Son of the Ocean, to give you an idea. So I did this cover, and the original art to this, I actually might have right here. God, there's Jessica. Alright, it's not in this art folder. In one of these two. So I know this is bad live stream stuff where I'm sitting here looking around. No, that's real world stuff, Ginger Bear. It gives people a thing to kind of ponder on and think about. God. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. God, now I'm gonna have to back this thing up. So there's the original line art for this, and I did this back in 2013, and it's still one of my favorite things of my old artwork because I went out of my way to make it as slick and clean a line work as I could possibly do. And then I hired a guy to color it, and he did this, and I couldn't have been more happy. Like, he even took the tail and made it translucent and had her leg through the back side of it. Like, I didn't do that on the original. You can see there, I just had her tail covering it. But this guy went out of his way to make it translucent, and then I wanted to have red hair. I like the idea of like I wanted to make the surface of the water right there where it's light and the sun's kind of cascading through, and it gets darker as it comes down. And I just paid this guy individually on my own to color it, and he just kicked the hell out of it, man. I just yeah, I love it. So then that's the line work and the colors that I paid for. And then these guys did this thing, which is, you know, it is what it is. And then so I did the cover to this, and it's just like a super like thin comic. It's tiny. And then this is the art that's in it. And, you know, I used to kind of talk with the artist in here, and he tried. He really, really tried, and he did his best. But, you know, it's just small indie, you know, indie comics. But, again, I wanted to be the best guy out of the group. And so I put everything I could into the covers. This is another one. It was a guy getting abducted by aliens. And so my original line work to this is kind of fine. I think the colorist on this one actually did really cool. Like, I had the moon over there, I think, but he added a sky and the colors and everything. Like, for a guy getting abducted by aliens, it's not brilliant or anything. It's from 2013, but you know, it is what it is. You say the interiors would have benefited from colors, probably, but they can't afford to print color books. You know, this is a cheap. You know, the guy who was running this company, they ran at a loss at every time. The guy was making these out of the pure love of making comics, and he didn't pay any of us anything. But that was my personal. I was okay with that. I wanted to have my work on a comic book. This is where I get into. Again, I had been wanting to draw comics forever, but I couldn't demand a page rate, and I wasn't getting anything done. Nothing was being seen. Nothing was being created. But I could do something, and I could see my work colored on a comic with a title. It let me get something done I've never seen. So that is why I chose to work for free. So Alien Abduction, this one, it was supposed to be like a sci-fi kind of a science fiction-y figure who travels back in time and where the time when dinosaurs were alive. Again, I felt like the colorist did pretty good. The work inside is, again, it's okay. You know, it's guys who are just making comics and doing the best that they can do. I'm not trying to shit on them or anything like that. I know I was kind of saying that in the book earlier, in the video earlier. It's, you know, it's everyone trying their best to make comics. And I get it. But also, I wanted to be the best guy there. There's this one, and there's a little white splotch on it, but I was trying so damn hard to make this like a anatomically accurate, dynamic figure. He's just standing there trying to look badass. It's this Canadian character that wears a giant maple leaf on his back. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, yeah, like I said, I was doing my best to make it look as good as I could. And they did actually do some books with color. The coloring on the interiors wasn't fantastic. But again, none of these guys were getting paid a damn thing. Myself included. So there's that. And then the last one is this same character, but this was like a collected edition. And in this collected book, the main character fights a cyborg robotic evil version of himself. So I drew this cover where he's like walking through fire, it's burning away his body, so you can see he's robotic under it. And I got one of my best friends who's really good artist to color this one, and he did exactly what I wanted. I wanted this kind of chunky painterly flame behind it. And it's hard to make this character interesting when he's a Canadian guy wearing a giant maple leaf on his back, but I did the best I could, you know. And, you know, he jumps off buildings with his leaf cape and floats around the city wherever the wind's taken, fighting crime. And you're like, oh, okay. I guess. Yeah, low-budget indie books are kind of fun. And I'm actually, you might find this hard to believe, I'm actually really forgiving on if the art is quote-unquote technically bad as compared to professional comics. Like, I'm completely fine with it. If the story does something interesting and unique like you've never seen before, and this stuff is the most cliche, boring 70s era bullshit. Like, the guys who were writing this are older guys who are trying to create the comics that they loved in a modern time, and to me it just did not work. The stories were so boring. You're not engaged with it at all, and that's what I was looking for. It can have this, like I said, the less professional art. It gives it some charm, but I want the story to be like, show me something different. And there was nothing, and I mean nothing, different in this. You like this cover there, Ginger Bear, with the burning guy? I also forgot, this back page is like a single page introduction to a French 1800s female version of the title character. So I drew this back in 2013. God, 1 year after my son was born. So anyway, these are those books. I got, a couple copies of them, and I'm just like, well, again, I say all this to make the point that I feel like it wasn't time wasted. It got me motivated, it got me challenged, it got me competitive, and it forced me to do the best work I could do, because again, I don't want to be the weakest link. I wanted to be the strongest link. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how to say this without sounding egotistical, I kind of was. And the guy who ran the company kind of let me do anything, and he kept trying to get me to do everything for him. And I'm like, dude, I got so sick of doing this stuff after a while. That's why I started my He-Man fan comic. I'm like, if I'm going to waste time drawing comics, and I've been working with them for a couple of years, and I feel like I got everything I wanted out of it. So I'm like, if I'm going to waste time drawing comics that no one sees, I want to make mine. So that's why I started the Master's End He-Man fan comic. So that's why that happened. That's how that happened. And now, just because I've done this before, but it's been a minute, I want to bust out my little art portfolio here and just flip through some of my old art. Because why not? Let's just look at some of my shit. I did this right after that first Infinity War movie. Yeah. That's that one. Cover to a Highlander comic that I got to do. Over here I've got my original blue pencil sketch. I gotta move the camera up. If I pull that out of the way. Here's the original black and white line work to that. Again, I was doing my absolute best. This is 2014. I was trying to make it clean and slick because I was working with these same guys. I guess I should make a point. That guy, when I was doing all that Canadian Leaf stuff, through him, he had a friend, and they got the rights to the Highlander comic books. Like, from the actual, like, movie studio that owns it. Somehow this independent nobody said, let me make Highlander comics, and he got the gig. They didn't pay him shit. They didn't pay him a thing. They were just like, go make comics, and if it sells well because of the name brand, you can keep the money. And they never created anything. But because of that opportunity, I threw in, I'm like, hey, let me draw some covers for you. And they're like, please. So I drew this as like a secondary cover, and then I paid a guy to color it, and he did this. And it's another one of those times where I was just blown away by what the colorist did. I love that so much. I didn't even think about the lightning hitting the sword. That the colorist come up with that. It's like, oh shit. Like, blew me away. So that was my closest flirtation with ever getting to do anything. Because again, if the comic would have been made and produced and it was supposed to be put on the shelf. The movie studio was supposed to back it up, but they gave no support to the comic creators for the Highlander thing, and it just fizzled out and went nowhere. But here's the black and white to the main cover that I did for them. Again, I was doing my best. Like, I actually feel like I nailed this sword. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I actually got it exactly the way I wanted it. It come out so slick. It's got this perfect curve. Like, I just feel like I nailed it, and I've never done that before. And of course, I left space for the title treatment up top. Just drawing some of these other characters in here. I tried my best. I was doing my best, and then that's the colored version. Same colorist. I just kept paying. I kept paying the colorist out of my own pocket, and then submitting it to the company who had the rights to these things, because their colorist fucking sucked. And I did not want my artwork to have shit coloring fucking it up. So I paid this guy out of my own pocket for this one here, and the previous one there. And there's more. They had a contest where the fans would do something, and if you won the contest, we would draw you into the book. And so this was the guy. He provided some picture of himself, and so it was going to be an alternate cover where you are fighting the Highlander himself. So I went out of my way. I did the best face I could, and I kind of liked the shot where the Highlander guy, he's like crawling through rubble and debris. His big hand is coming forward as he's reaching for his sword here in the foreground. And then the fan guy, he wanted this kind of curved, swashbuckling pirate sword, and he's chasing after the Highlander guy. And again, I look at this. This is from, I must have dated this. I think it's from 2014. Again, I paid a colorist to do it, and I feel like he did pretty good. I like the idea of this sword way up front, way up close. I had to look up what the Highlander's sword looked like. It was from the TV show specifically, not the movies. They were very specific to tell me, do not make the character look like the actor from the movie, what's his name, Raiden, from Mortal Kombat. I'm like, okay, Christopher Lambert, but also don't make him look like the actor that played in the TV show. Just make him a generic guy. So yeah, put that sword in there. But again, paid the colorist for that one out of my own pocket. Another one, and I was just inspired, man. I just started doing images. Like, I was hyped up. I was excited. I was motivated. This shit's gonna be seen. And I was like, I'm gonna be better than anybody else working on this comic. And the artist drawing the actual comic was god fucking awful. Like, just the worst. And I couldn't believe that they were, and they weren't even paying him. It was all back end. Once it sells, you'll get paid. And this guy was a pompous, arrogant prick. And so then I was motivated to just produce cover after cover, pin-up after pin-up to show that I'm better than him. Because he was a shithead. And so I just kept pumping out drawings. So did that one. And then I had a different guy color this one. It's not the best thing I've ever drawn, but I still kind of, I had fun with it. I was trying to do textures for the background and heavy shadows on the jacket. And, you know, I was experimenting. This is 2015, the end of 2015. Jaro, you can see the effort going into these. I mean, yeah, I was, like I said, I was hyper motivated. This was the villain. I was totally going to get this thing colored, but I could tell by this point, this was December of 2015, I could tell that nothing was going to come of this. I could see that this was falling apart. They had like 2 years under contract to produce as many comics as they could. And by a year and a half in, one book wasn't even done. I'm like, you guys are fucking this up. So this was the villain. I can't remember his name. I kind of like most of it. I really kind of dig the face. I mean, I don't know. I kind of liked what went on there. I was having fun, and, you know, I'm trying to have all this debris and rubble and shit. I was going to pay a guy to color this, but I'm like, no more. It's just not going anywhere anyway, so they fucked it up. So I'm like, well... But again, I don't consider it time wasted because I got focused, I got driven, I got inspired, and I got excited. And I created stuff I'm still proud of. So, did this, another one. I figured this would be a print that I could sell at the comic conventions with the, you know, from the Infinity War, when Kid, whatever her name, Gamora says, what did it cost? And Thanos said, everything. Yeah, never sold a single print of that shit. So people can go fuck themselves. What else? Oh yeah, this one. This is for those Canadian comics guys, that Leaf character with the, you know, the giant fucking maple leaf on his back. They started doing a series where it's set way in the future. It's a future sci-fi version, and he's on Mars. And so this is the sci-fi future version. And I went to town and designed the gun. I actually designed like a little blueprint of the gun and come up with ways that it would function differently. And I come up with this design that I actually still like, where I took the Canadian leaf and made it into this three-dimensional kind of geometric shape. It probably doesn't show up very well there, but I'm like, I actually think I made something cool. And I really like the way it come out. And so then, again, I paid a guy to color it. And this is what he did to it. And I'm like, kind of dig it. He's supposed to be on Mars, and it wasn't until after the fact I did some research that Mars has 2 moons, but they're not spherical shapes. They're like giant asteroids, and so they're not big round moon shapes. And I'm like, oh, fuck it, who cares? It's a comic book no one's going to see anyway. Yeah, I hear you, Panda. I do understand that, and I get it. You know, you put in all this work, and then no one ever sees it. You're right. For me, the only argument that I make back, like I was saying, is it got me motivated to create, rather than sitting around, as I was doing, creating nothing. And I got inspired and excited, and then it pushed me to start making my own stuff. So I totally get it. I agree. But that was the value to me that I told myself after the fact. I understand people are like, I'm going to do all this work for free. That's bullshit. Like, I get it. But it forced me to, like, buckle down and be as good as I could be. These guys right here, actually, this is kind of funny. For those of you who've been hanging out for a minute, this drawing that I was doing here, and these are my original characters I was talking about, in their original stupid costume designs. And I haven't finished drawing the third guy over here, but these guys here, I did modern versions of them back in 2013, and that's these guys right here. Like the dude here with the silly mask and the laser knife from his fist is this guy right here. And then this dude with this ridiculous costume, I just kind of simplified him down. And then there's like a cybernetic like warrior guy here. These are my 3 guys, and that's why I took their old designs and tried to redesign them into something more interesting. And again, I paid a guy to color it, and I kind of like it, you know. I kind of fucked up the arms, and like it's not perfect, but for 2013 me wanting to see my characters redesigned into something that's a little bit less goofy and colored, I was like, I kind of like the way that one come out. Again, it was a fun experiment. Oh yeah, here's the line art to that the leaf guy, the robot that's burning. You know what's funny, Jaro? You're not the only one to say that, because they've got this ridiculous charm to them, and the redesigns were hyper simplified, so they're less visually dynamic or interesting. Like, I totally get it. I was even thinking that myself. My only problem for me personally is, like, I can't justify why these guys would have outfits that have all this ridiculous designy stuff on them. But that's just me overthinking it. But Jaro, I do actually get it. I did kind of draw this, and I'm like, he looks like a cheesy 90s bullshit idiot. And that's maybe that's what he needs to be. I don't know. So I get it, and I agree. So, and then yeah, the colored version. What else is in here? Oh yeah, fucking goddamn it. I was saying how for the Canadian Leaf guy, I drew an entire 24-page comic book that was supposed to be printed and in color. And they did color it, but they never printed it. And this was the cover that I did for that book. I got I guess I should angle this down. It says, with respect to Todd, 2013, because the Leaf character, this Canadian Leaf guy with the maple leaf cape, he was fighting a giant walking cancerous tumor, is what he was. And so I just kind of did the Spider-Man Venom cover. And again, I put everything into this that I could. I mean, this isn't me copying McFarlane's anatomy or anything. It's just his basic composition and trying to make this weird, gross, genetic monster. And I kind of still like it. And then the colored version. Yeah, I paid for that. So I don't know. I don't love the colors, but yeah, I put in a lot of time. I mean, I could see where I was trying to get some like line weights and shit out of the inking tools that I was using, just not getting it. But I'm like, God damn it, how do these artists make these ink lines happen? And honestly, I still do the same thing to this day. How the fuck do they make that happen? Back to the Highlander thing. Another one where a guy enters a contest, and if he wins, you get to be on the cover of an upcoming issue. So the guy provided a picture of his face, and so I've got him here. He's got his hand extended out on his sword at the throat of the Highlander guy right there. And I still kind of know this guy. He lives in England. He's like a small-time actor. He's been in a few small-budget movies, but he loves the Highlander, and he was really excited. And I wanted to send him this artwork, but the shipping just cost too much to ship it to England. So I just kind of held on to it. I'm like, dude, I want you to have it. This will do nothing but sit in a folder in my closet until I die. And he's like, I want it, but shipping is just too much. I'm like, I understand, you know. And then just doing more covers for them. They had some hot girl, like, warrior babe title, and so I did her, you know, topless. I fucked up her face. I worked on that, and the more I worked on her face, the more I fucked it up. But, it's not my favorite, but I can see what I was really trying. I was trying to get some gray tones in the anatomy, give her, like, a hot tummy and the hot leather outfit and shit like that, and, you know... And it's okay, but it's not the best. It's not my favorite. Some others of her, like this is another. I was gonna try and make this into a cover, but I kind of ended up feeling like I don't know. I like individual things about it. This is the main warrior girl, obviously, because of course she's a stripper. But there's, you know, I kind of like some of the things I did with her hair. Angle this over. I got her hand coming forward with the gun, the screamy face. I actually referenced that. I found a picture of a girl with a screamy face. I did some inking stuff I still kind of like, but I don't know. I didn't like some of the way some of the stuff was coming out through here. I don't know. I just kind of abandoned it. There were things about it that I liked, but it wasn't working. But everything you draw, even if it fails, is a learning thing, you know, a learning curve. Jaro, this is cool. You see a lot of Frank Cho and Brian Hitch in this era. I was big time into Brian Hitch for real, like big time. This one was another title that they were working with this gal who was kind of a aspiring novelist. She had some actual novels published in a very, very small capacity, and she was trying to turn her novels into a comic book. And so she asked me if I would do a cover for her, and I did. So this was her character. This is 2015, and I used actually my brother and a couple of his friends from pictures from Facebook as the basis for these zombie faces. So I just kind of took them and then just zombified them, and I'd never actually drawn zombie things before. So that was kind of fun. And I kind of like the girl here. I kind of like her face. I like her short black hair. And I was really trying to get into like the small fine line details of her outfit, the glove, the dagger. Like I was trying, like everywhere there's supposed to be detail, I'm not going to skimp on it. There's the hilt, there's the handle, there's like little ribs in the handle to hold on to. There's the edge on the blades. The outfit has all these little straps and belts and buckles and shit. I'm putting everything into this. And I still kind of like it. I think the girl looks good enough. You know, I'm not embarrassed by it. Oh yeah. Some of my He-Man pages. That's right out of the book, right there. This She-Ra image, that's right out of the book. That's in volume 2. I had redrawn this one like 4 times. This was the final version. I just could not get that center figure right. And I still don't love it, but I'm like, good enough. Oh yeah, here's future science fiction sci-fi leaf guy. This version of the guy here, I did another one. There he is, just kind of like floating in space. I was trying to do like a cosmic spacey background, you know, planetoids and shit, and I don't know. I was just doing everything I could kind of think of, and I kind of dig the coloring. I still think it kind of works. The red shiny material, and then he's got like a glass dome over his head, you know, so he can survive in space. It's alright. What else? Oh yeah. These are my old versions of doing an alternate version of He-Man, like Masters of Eternity. This is Lord Greystone and Lady Hawk, basically He-Man and Teela when she's the sorceress. And so I was just practicing some alternate barbarian designs. Kind of fun. Not the designs I'm going to use, but it's just me farting around trying to come up with something. And then this one, this is basically the designs of the characters from my He-Man fan comic. After I'm done with the He-Man fan comic, they travel off into the universe and end up going through the Siege Perilous kind of thing and exit a new world redesigned and reformatted so I can just call them my own. This is from 2018, and this is how long I've had kind of the redesign in mind for those He-Man characters. That's She-Ra, Trapjaw, Fisto, and Strongarm right there. Not the final designs, but my first attempt at the final designs. Of course, my brother, he saw this and he pointed out that he thought that the girl in the background was a giant. It's just supposed to be like a collage image. It's not her physically standing here with these three guys. It's just kind of like an image of her floating in the background. But he's like, it looks like she's standing there and she's a fucking giant. And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of an interesting idea. But I have nothing to say about that, so... Oh yeah, we've seen this one. Already done that one. So we'll just skip by the mermaid girls. It's another cover I did for the Canadian Leaf, guys. I put everything into this one. Girl trapped in a tube and technology and a big skull and a guy discovering it. Like, when did I do this? Did I date this thing? I did. 2012. Yeah. Same year my son was born, so 13 years ago. Just a random bullshit screw around page. Trying to experiment. This thing sucks. Nothing good there. This one I did trying to just leave hyper clean pencils to be colored or gray toned over. And I did not enjoy doing art like this, leaving it in just pencil to be toned. Now, I actually do this now, where I do, what I would do now is I would light box this into a final drawing. I was using a thick, heavy lead that smeared everywhere, and I did not like trying to create this final pencil drawing on the original artboard from go. You know what I mean? Now I would just scribble it on there with the blue pencil, light box it, and come up with the final line drawing that I like a lot better. But I tried. I was trying to do the best I could do. And then somebody, I can't remember who or whoever did the gray tones on this, and it kind of gives it like an old school noir kind of thing. Thanks, Ginger Bear. I appreciate it. Inkwell, thanks, man. You know, it was... I kind of feel like, personally, that I put so much time into this girl's face. And it's not perfect, but I don't hate it. But I feel like the coloring did something that changed it in a way that I don't like it now. It didn't ruin it, but I don't love it. So, I don't know. Again, experimentation. Man, I fucking slacked off on the background city buildings back there. That is terrible. I did not date this, so I don't even know. It's around the same time. Oh yeah, and then I would fart around with Copic markers. This was somebody that I knew, and I took a picture of her and did some kind of Copic marker stuff. That's from 2015. Mark Domowitz, what's up, my dude? This one I kind of had fun with. For the first time, I got really experimental with her hair. I had some shit brushes, and they were kind of big, and they were forked, and just going everywhere. And so I just took them and just did some like really quick gestural, just fling it around for the hair. And I kind of liked the scratchy dry brush effect that I got out of her hair, and I did some scratchy stuff on it, and I did some ink wash grays in her hair, and I was like, I kind of liked it. Yeah, Mark, yeah, I was drawing actually, but then I kind of got distracted and pulled off and just started flipping through, you know, the conversation led me to pull out this thing. So I've been going through this whole damn thing, and we're kind of towards the end of this one. But yeah, and then I did watercolor with the red on the bandana for Elektra. Again, this is a face I found online, so I did Copic marker gray tones like Adam Hughes, you know, that's who I was trying to emulate, and then did this scratchy ink line for the hair and an ink wash, and then watercolor on the red. That's 2015. Ginger Bear, you're talking about this one. You didn't like the foreground characters in the shaded one? Yeah. I think the background works. Yeah, if that's what you're saying. The shadow of the monster on the wall, that kind of works. The kind of the three-dimensional look of the cracks on the concrete and all that stuff. But yeah, I think they kind of goofed it up. But what else? Oh yeah, more Highlander stuff. I was just inspired, and so I made this one where he's just standing out in the rain, kind of a Frank Miller inspired thing. And I kind of like it. You know, I don't hate it. 2015. Just standing in the rain, holding his sword. Like, I don't know. He's just standing there in the rain, like we all do. This was a female character in the Highlander book, so I just wanted to draw her. You know, some kind of cyberpunk chick. Nothing spectacular. Oh, yeah. This thing. Way back in the day, I've done a video on this, but there was a website, Digital Webbing, that I was part of, and we all did a big group X-Men project. And this was the cover that I created for it, just in case we ever put it together somehow. And these were like the major characters that were in the book. And I just kind of wanted to draw. These were like some of my favorite characters at the time. So you got Cable. And again, I was going all out with... I kept Liefeld's design as accurately as I could, but just threw on every belt and buckle and clip and pouch and everything I could come up with to make a hyper detailed drawing of Cable. And then this gun design is a Mike Mignola design from the issue of X-Force he did. I just kept that gun design. And then I don't love the rest of it. Psylocke's kind of okay. Shatterstar looks kind of goofy. Colossus is kind of tipped off to the side. Wolverine's not my favorite. Havoc, like, I was trying, but I totally stole Mark Silvestri flame background design. Like, that is 100% ripping off Silvestri background. I'm like, it looked so good the way he did it. I just tried to replicate it, and I actually like it. But to me, I just see like it's just Silvestri. So, yeah, that one, and then this was supposed to go along with that X-Men group project. I wanted to just draw more X-Men characters, and so, you know, I got Havoc twice, got Gambit, Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Colossus, Rogue. I just wanted to draw the X-Men, and I was having a hard time making them look right because I'm basing what I drew on how good the stuff was done in the professional comics, and it's just always inferior. So I just always just like, God, I suck. I'm not as good as Jim Lee, which duh, no shit. But I was trying. The only thing on these I actually kind of like is the Cable. But God, what a pain in the ass that would be to draw on a long-term basis with all these pouches and stuff. Like, so much shit. Yeah. So that's that big double X-Men piece there. Another girl in leather with the red scarf sash thing, just trying different things, using colored pencil to give a mid-tone gray. You know, you got the black, the white, and then a gray tone. I actually feel like I want to do more of this. I just keep forgetting to incorporate it in anything I do with this gray pencil, just to give it like a mid-tone in the art. That's more detailed than any gun Rob has ever done, right? Goddamn. It's more for those Leaf characters. They had a super team. This was like the Mountie up here, and then some lizard guy, and some hot girl, and some other Canadian fucker, and then the Leaf guy right there in the center. Again, they wanted a cover, so I'm like, alright, it's another opportunity to show up everyone if I could. And then I paid a guy to color it. He did pretty good, I think. It's alright. And drawing this giant gun in perspective like that, that was a pain in the ass. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Thanks, Ginger Bear. You like my Havoc in both of those? I appreciate it. Yeah, Havoc's fun. It's just... Let's see. Then... Oh, yeah, that's like another alternate version of She-Ra. Yeah. So, yeah, this is just a bunch of stuff. I would always take these with me to the Comic-Con when I had a table there just to have artwork to show people. But I'm like, why am I taking this? I'm not selling any of these. No one's interested in buying them, so I'm just lugging these around for no reason. What's in this one? Oh, yeah, this is me redrawing a Liefeld cover. It was Evangeline in Glory. In fact, when I posted this art on my Instagram page, Liefeld liked it. This was a couple of years ago, but I got a like from Rob Liefeld. Yeah. Panda, last time I did a convention, last year. But it was a big bust, and I lost money, and then I got ripped off this year. I got all that money stolen from me, so I am not going this year, but my plan is to go again next. So the comic convention that I go to locally is September. Not going this year, but my plan is to go again next September. But I was there last year. Yeah, these things. Copic marker. I've talked about this. Man, the old nerd crowd loves Star Trek. I sell prints of this Star Trek shit non-stop at the conventions. This shit keeps me in the black. This and Gargoyles, like the animated show. People buy that stuff up. So, there's my Captain Sisko and Jadzia Dax and Kira and the Defiant. So yeah, got that one. And then got the Next Generation crew. This one I struggled with. I don't know. I had a hard time getting the likenesses on the face. Like, people know who they are, but I don't feel like I did the best version that I could do. I feel like the Cisco face came out the best, but these other ones were kind of fun. I like doing the ships. The ships are fun. I did the Ferengi. Because, I mean, I had a couple of people. I only sold like 2 or 3 prints of this one, but the people who saw them, the nerd Star Trek crowd, they come up and they're like, oh my god, I love the Ferengi. No one has prints of that. Let me have one. I'm like, you bet you. Trying to do the turtles. I never feel like I've ever nailed them exactly correctly, but this was kind of fun. That's Jessica. That's a picture off her Instagram, and so I drew that up because she's just got great features, the eyes and the face shape and the long hair. It does have kind of like a camera distorted view, but whatever. And not really anything else in this. That's kind of it as far as that thing. Ginger Bear, TNG, that's your jam, hell yeah. You know, I also got these things, and I got some original artwork that I bought from some people. This is a guy, Chris Anderson. He did this pinup for my fan comic back in 2023, and I just love this thing. It's a scene from the comic where Strong Arm is trying to crush the skull of Jitsu, crush his head, and he sold it to me at a big discount. I think he said he normally sells them for $300, and he sold it to me for like $100. And I'm like, oh my god, I would love to have that thing. Yeah. So that's the original work that he did there. Yeah, Chris Anderson, he's very good. I did a video interview with him on my channel a while back, and he was saying that he says, I never erase. What I put down, he does, I do a quick sketch and I go straight to inks, and whatever comes out is what stays on there. I'm like, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. This is by a guy named Matt Triano. He's drawn comics professionally. I got to know him on digital webbing, and years ago he promised he would do a cover for the X-Men fan comic that we were all working on. And he never was able to do it, and we lost contact. And then just a couple of years ago, he found me on Instagram, and he said, dude, I owe you a drawing, and I'm sorry that I never did it, but I'm going to send you something. And I said, sure. And he sent me this fully rendered watercolor. Like, I can't get over how much I love the planet down here and all these crazy colors going on. He's got an interesting kind of anatomical style. I really dig it. But he sent me this original for free, just to honor a commitment that he made years ago. And I don't think he draws comics anymore. I don't know what he does. He probably got out of comics because he couldn't make any money at it. I'm just guessing. But it's kind of, I dig it. And then most of you probably know Isaac Bell doing Metal Shade. I've shown off his comics. Years ago, when I first started my He-Man fan comic, I asked him if he would want to do like a cover for me, and he did this Skeletor, and then things kind of happened. My divorce happened. I lost contact with everything, and then just like 2 years ago, he did an auction of his artwork, and this come up, and I'm like, well, I have to own it, so I bought it from him for like $150. So I own an original Isaac Bell. It's not as awesome as his current work. He's so much better now. This is I don't think it's dated, but this is something in the world of like 10 to 12 years old from him. I still love it. I'm glad that I have it, but it's not nearly as good as the stuff he does. Oh yeah, it says right there, 2014. Love it. And so I had to buy it. I had to have it. So I did that. And then this is the one and only time I pulled out, and I did this just in the last couple of years, where I pulled out a pinup from a comic book because I liked the art so much. I wanted it to hang up. And so I pulled out this Silvestri pencil, Joseph Weems inked medieval Witchblade Spawn. I was like, you know what? I've never pulled a pinup out of a comic, but I'm never going to look in that fucking comic again. So I'm taking this out. And it kind of sucks that there's like a seam right in the middle of it, but whatever. Yeah. This is one of my, like, this is an era of Silvestri. This is his 90s work, and he says he's not super thrilled with it anymore. But man, when Silvestri's inspired, holy shit, does he make it look good. Like, he draws the hottest girls. she's got this beautiful face and this giant boobs and this tiny waist and these perfect hips and this dynamic cape flowing behind her, and then this horse. It's unbelievably awesome. And then Medieval Spawn back here being a badass, and Joseph Weems on inks. Man, it's just, I would like die to see the original art of this. I bet if I went looking, I could probably find a high resolution version of it, probably, and I would print it out and just hang it up on the wall. But this drawing from Silvestri, like, he's got this, I don't know, this might sound weird, but in a way, Silvestri is the perfect version of what Rob Liefeld wishes he was. Does that make sense to anybody? At least when Silvestri's doing his 90s work, like you could look at a 90s era Silvestri book, and it's like splash pages and muscular guys punching things and hot girls and monsters, and that's just describing Rob Liefeld's work to a T. But Silvestri is like the ultimate distillation of perfection for that kind of art style. Does that make sense to anybody? Yeah, Ginger Bear, it's so good. He's so good at this. I kind of hope, like, out of all the creators that are out there that I would like to meet, I mean, I'd like to meet 1,000 of them, but, you know, I got to meet Jim Lee one time, and that was magical. Like, I would love to meet Marc Silvestri and just be like, dude, your work is unparalleled. You're just the best, and I love everything that you do, and thank you for everything that you've done. You know, I'm trying to think of, I'd like to meet Todd McFarlane. I'd like all the Image guys. I've met Whilce Portacio. He came to a convention. I sat there and chatted him up once. He was a nice dude. Yeah, Mark, Silvestri seems like a really nice guy. He's always really cool. Yeah, Silvestri seems like a nice guy. But, you know, I would love to meet Marc Silvestri and Adam Hughes. And, that would be just magical. I keep thinking, maybe if my channel keeps growing, maybe I could hit one of them up and they'd like do an interview with me on my channel somehow. That's really dreaming. That's really reaching. But if you're going to have dreams, dream big, right? Daniel Gonzalez, what's up? J. Scott Campbell, my brother met him. In fact, my brother John, he pissed in a urinal in a bathroom next to him once. My brother was at a convention somewhere, and he was taking a piss, and J. Scott Campbell come up next to him, whipped his dick out, and started pissing next to him. And my brother said, I was trying to think of something funny to say. And I said, you should have just quietly whispered to yourself, Battle Chasers is better. And I said, I bet he would have laughed his ass off if you said that, because, you know, just as a joke. And he's like, oh, dude, I should have said that. Yeah, Mark, it would be hard to interview them without being starstruck. For real. Panda, have I ever met any of your, like, never meet your heroes moments? No, because I've met so few. I haven't had enough. So I'm trying to think of professional guys that I've met. Again, I met Jim Lee. It was wonderful. I met Whilce Portacio. It was awesome. He was a nice guy. I met Ed McGuinness and Dexter Vines. They came to a local convention, and I chatted up Dexter Vines about inking. Like, he showed me the tool, the inking tool that he uses. He's like exclusively a brush guy. And so I got to chat him up. I've met Ryan Otley several times. He's always been awesome. I did a video where I talked about how I could have met Peter David. He was at a local convention. He was sitting there and not a single person around his table. And I felt bad. Fatal J, my brother. You don't think you want to meet Erik Larsen? Yeah, I love drag. I would meet Erik Larsen. I may not agree with his politics all the time, but I kind of don't care. I would love to talk to him about comics because that's all I want to talk about. But I get your point, Fatal J. No, me and Otley are not buddies or anything, not at all. We did meet, and he did at least at one time remember my name, but it's been a minute. I think if he saw me, he'd be like, oh yeah, Rob, right? It's been years. But I did get to go over to his house once when he'd first started Invincible. I just hit up Ryan Otley. He just started Invincible. I'm like, dude, you're a professional artist. You're drawing an Image comic, and we live in the same state. Can I come meet you? And he's like, sure. Come over to my apartment. My wife is here. I'm sure she'll be fine with it. It's like, holy shit. So I went over, and Ryan Otley was living in this little tiny apartment with his then wife. He had his drawing table in the living room, and he had Invincible pages on his table. And I got to sit there and chat him up, dude. It was really awesome. Mark, are you saying that Campbell and Mignola Lim, they were sitting at empty tables? Really? Like, even like Campbell and Mignola, I would think that they'd be surrounded by people at all times. That's crazy if I'm reading you right. You didn't have to wait in line at all to talk to them. Damn. That's crazy. I would never leave their table. Oh, speaking of, I met the inker Matt Banning. He goes by Bat. He had a table across from me like 3 years ago. And I saw him setting up. I'm like, holy shit, that's that inker. So I rolled up to his table. I'm like, hey, man. Like, I'm a big fan of your inking, and he was really nice. And I even told him I sat there and chatted with him for like 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't mean to take up your time. He's like, no, dude, I love talking shop. And he told me stuff about Silvestri. He's like, you'll never see that Batman comic because he wants too much money, and DC got bought out by Warner Brothers, and they don't want to pay him his rate, so that's why the comic has taken so long. That's why you'll probably never see it. And then Joe Benitez, who we worked for Top Cow, he was sitting across from me at another convention, and then he went live on his Instagram. And so I sent him a message on his live. I said, dude, I'm sitting right across from you. And so he like looked up and looked across the way and saw my dumb smiling face at my stupid artist table. And he smiled and waved at me. I'm like, what's up, dude? And then I wanted to go talk to him, but I left him alone. So yeah, Joe Benitez from Top Cow does that Lady Mechanica. That's crazy, Mark. Man, I would love to meet Campbell. I'd probably like, motherfucker, draw comics. Stop with these covers. Even Joe Madureira, in a recent interview with Mark Millar on his YouTube channel, even Joe Mad said that he's going to be drawing Battle Chasers again very soon. Like, he flat out said it in that interview. He's like, I'm going to get back to Battle Chasers here real quick. I'm committed to doing it. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get more. Like, the dream that I have, at least one of them is going to come true. My dream is to have McFarlane draw Spider-Man one more time, or have Jim Lee draw X-Men one more time, have J. Scott Campbell draw Danger Girl one more time. But Joe Mad directly, specifically said he's gonna draw more Battle Chasers. I'm like, you know what? These dreams I have, they may not be completely futile after all. I'm not holding any hope that McFarlane will ever draw Spider-Man again. But nor Jim Lee going back to Marvel, but it's not impossible. While they're still alive and drawing. Well, I hear you, Jaro. I hear you, Panda. But he said it on a, like a, I think he heard the fans. He said he was going to draw the book for the crowdfunder he did, blah, blah, blah. But then they handed off to the other guy. And the other guy's a good artist. But I think he heard people. And so I choose to believe that he's going to actually do what he said he's going to do. We'll see. But, I mean, if Joe Mad comes back and draws Battle Chasers, is that going to be the highest selling comic book of that year? Like, it would have to be. Mark, you saw Joe Mad at a party and you told him his most recent book sucked? Dude! Addie, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Panda, you said, didn't they only do about 2 issues of Battle Chasers when they continued it? I thought they only did 1, but they did 3, and I did videos on them. Like, they actually completed the story with the promise of more Battle Chasers to come. So I was actually surprised. And it was that other artist, I can't remember his name, it's like Ludo Lullaby or something like that. He's good, but he's not Joe Mad. Yeah, Panda, that's kind of what I'm saying. Mark, so you said that Ultimates 3 sucked and the art was awesome but the story was horrible, and he agreed. Did he really think that it sucked too? I wonder if he was like Marvel threw a ton of money at him. He said, please come fucking draw Ultimates Volume 3. He's like, okay. But then Jeff Loeb lost his fucking mind. Sorry, anybody who's... I know that I've got a potty mouth, Addie. And I just wondered if Joe Mad was like, what is this shit he's having me draw? You've got to be kidding me. That's actually really funny if that's the case. Oh no, Addie, I don't do that. I would never curse at you, Addie. You're too sweet. The only one I curse at in the chat is Mark Domowitz because he keeps posting his artwork in our Discord, and I'm pissed off at how damn good he is. Yeah, Mark, that stuff you've posted recently, man, like, you're really kind of self-depreciating, but every time I'm like, that looks so good, dude. You're like natural talents with organic inking. It might be rough and kind of sketchy, but it's perfect, dude. I'm like, this is perfect, just the way it is. I would buy a comic with art that looked just like that. Just make that. Have that sketchy, because it has an organic life to it that just looks fantastic. It doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, no comic art needs to be flawless. Just look at Liefeld's success, right? I'll always take an opportunity to roast a Liefeld. And to be fair, there's a lot of great artwork going on in the Discord. Everyone's producing some really neat stuff. Well, have fun, Addie. Thanks for stopping in, as always. I want to wrap this up here soon enough myself. I'm almost at 2 hours. And Mark, yeah, I like, it's the only style you can do. You have no line control or the patience for it. Like, I get it, but you make it work. because there's life to it. It could be a dead, boring line and not be a fraction as interesting, but you know, you got this lively line that you do. I'm like, perfect. Like there's no like needing to improve on that, like, or you know, I mean, there's always room for improvement, of course, but like, I'm just looking at it going, perfect. That's awesome. Like, I was getting inspired looking at it. I know I don't chime in there as often as I should and like speak up, but I do look. And yeah, Ginger Bear, Mark's comic, the fucking, oh my god, I can't remember. What was the name of it, Mark? I know it, but I can't. Yeah. That was one of my favorite indie books I've ever reviewed because it was so unique. Upsetting, right, yeah. Like, Mark just goes out there and is like, I'm going to create like a fake issue 74 of a magazine series that never existed, but I'm going to make it look like it did. I'm going to put in ads for issues that never existed, so you could order them if you would have picked this book up back in real time, back when it existed, but it never did. And a massive science fiction story of awesomeness. So yeah, I'm anxiously looking forward to your new work, Mark. And you know, it gets a hyper spotlight on the channel. Which goes pretty much for anybody. If you're out there and you make an indie book and you actually make it, I will show it. I want to show everybody everything. Jaro, if you look through my channel, if you get a chance, I've got his book sitting around here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I don't want to sit here and like go searching for it, but if you search on my channel and do upsetting, yeah, right there it comes up, Indie Spotlight. And in fact, it was a year ago. Upsetting by Mark Domowitz is a powerfully good first work. I go on for an hour and 11 minutes talking about his book because it's a giant thick ass magazine, dude. Yeah, Mark, you got talents, my man. Let's talk about jars and stuff. Y'all have spent a lot of time watching me do stuff with Dixon jars. Ink in some quick Kirby crackle. To be fair, doing Kirby Crackle correctly is actually really hard. Looks like a poor imitation of the master's work. Anybody in the chat, if you're paying attention to Mr. Mark Domowitz, what he's saying, he's beyond generous. He's got copies of this book that he printed up, and he'll send you one. I can't recommend it enough. It's such an interesting, unique book. Again, it's like getting a copy of Heavy Metal, for example, from like back in the 80s or some shit. And there's this whole line of books that come before it, but you just getting this copy of this book, and there's ads for copies of books that you can't order because they don't exist. There's like letters pages and stuff. It's incredibly professionally made. But it's just this unique one-off thing that he did. Get a copy of his work and demand that you pay him a few dollars for it, but that's between you and Mark. It's a brilliant thing, and it's a wonderful little one-off to have. It's so good. I can't recommend it enough. And if you want to see what it looks like, just look up my video on the channel. Again, I spend an hour talking about it. Mark is a generous son of a bitch, and I consider myself lucky to have met that fella. Mark, you watch a review and you feel sad. You're like, joking. Kinda. Well, guys, I'm gonna shut down for now. This was a lot of fun. Me and Jessica have plans to do a live stream tomorrow. We were gonna do one today, but she got pulled away, had something come up, so she asked if we could reschedule for tomorrow. So, in theory, I mean, I'm available. I'm gonna be doing it if she can make it. Me and Jessica should be doing a live stream tomorrow at 5 o'clock Mountain Time. So look out for that. It's always a fun time to get Jessica back on the channel and chat her up. She's way more charming than me. Will do, Mark. Will do. All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for stopping in. See y'all next time.